She was just like being a
yes,
and
you know,
and is already married and secretly engaged and pregnant. No, guys, no. I'm literally just, I'm going for a coffee and I'm crying the whole way there, and I'm crying the whole way home, and 2 days after it does. I am Amanda Kloots. I have been a Broadway performer, dancer, actress, singer. The issue most important to me right now is staying positive through grief and loss, and how to move. I'm not any dancer.
So you wrote your amazing book, which you know I listened to, and it was stars and the vulnerability that you have to have.
I think one of the things I've learned is that grief and healing is not something that you do for a year and then you get like a certificate saying like, feel like, I possibly can't talk about it again, or what else can I've cried about it, I've talked about it, and people are probably sick of hearing me cry and talk about it. But it's not that. It's what I've learned is that the more you express it, the more you release, and the more you're able to keep moving forward and change and grow and evolve. City, and this is like early March, like, you know, packing up our apartment because we officially were going to make the move to California. And we were living at the time at my good friend Zach Braff's guest house. And so we came back, and 2 days later on my birthday, March 19th, Nick just started not feeling good. He just was really tired. And then for the next, like, basically whole week, he was really exhausted all the time, just like super tired, wouldn't get off the couch. And then one day he's changing Elvis's diaper and he faints.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, Nick was 6'5", so when he fainted, it made a very large sound. So we go to urgent care. He comes out. They say they wouldn't even do a COVID test on me. I haven't been around anyone that has COVID. They have no symptoms of COVID. They think I might have pneumonia. Here, they gave me some meds. They told me if I'm not better over the weekend to come back to the emergency room. He got worse over the weekend, so we were like, all right, let's go to the emergency room. I took him to Cedars-Sinai. In the first 18 days, he got a fever, got sepsis, died on the table, was resuscitated, put on ECMO, got a blood clot, had his right leg amputated, a pacemaker, a feeding tube. His fingers and toes were completely black, and it would have been when I was dropping him off at the emergency room. I know I told him, I'm going to just park the car and take Elvis for a walk and call me, but it's going to be like a couple hours. Emergency rooms always take the longest time.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was something. I didn't think that I wasn't going to pick him back up. I know we didn't hug or kiss because it was clear that he was sick. Like, even just pneumonia.
Right. You don't.
I didn't want to get Elvis sick, so I don't think he said. I mean, we definitely didn't hug or kiss. He definitely didn't hug or kiss Elvis. The last time we talked was when he called me at 4 a.m. to say that they were putting him in a medically induced coma and on the ventilator. And I know I said I love you then, and he said I'm scared, and I said I'm scared too. I didn't really even understand what a ventilator was. Like, you don't think that's gonna be the last time. You don't know these things, you know, it's things you learn. I hope he does. Yeah. I hope he does. I think, I do think it's the best way to fully understand what happened to his dad, because the details in this book are so extraordinary, because it was so in my brain. I mean, we started writing 2 weeks after Nick died. I knew everything. I knew every number. I knew, and such a silver lining and blessing of me writing that memoir is that it is all written down, and one day that little boy will know everything that happened, which is wonderful. You know,
and the details. And I think he's going to probably have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
You know? So how has, I guess, social media, right, like Instagram,
I was sharing more about what was happening. I mean, it did kind of just get into this horrible roller coaster. But once I had already shared, I felt like I can't stop sharing what's going on, because the wave of support that was coming in from everyone on social media was crazy. Then that turned into an army of people singing with me at every day, 3 p.m., which,
that is so amazing.
You know, turning Nick into a rock star. Like, Nick died a rock star because the whole world was singing his song. His song was on the radio every day for 95 days straight. Like, the world turned him into a rock star, which was his biggest dream. I can literally say to him, you died a rock star, which is what you always wanted.
Yeah.
And remember, we were living in a time where nobody had anything, and all we wanted was human connection.
Totally.
And when I was like, get on board with me every day at 3 p.m., a lot of people would write to me and be like, we set our alarms. This is all this is the only thing we have to do today.
Wow.
So like, they got their whole families together and their dogs together, and they like made it a dance party while they were cooking dinner. Witnessing that and seeing then my followers grow from 50,000 to 500,000.
That's so crazy.
Through those 95 days.
Wow.
That was all just out of pure love and positivity and optimism and joy and human connection and community. After Nick died, and I asked my therapist, I was like, I have to ask you a question. I said, I don't understand why. You know, everyone in my family was like, Amanda, you don't have to keep getting on Instagram. Like, why do you keep doing it? And I always said, I don't know. It just, all I can tell you is it makes me feel better. Aww. And I said to my therapist, I was like, why did that make me feel better? Just even getting on and telling a story and pressing send and telling a story about either Nick or I or his status or needing help or whatever was going on or singing every day at 3. I said, why? And he goes, you don't know? And I go, no. And he was like, because it gave you a community in a time when there was no community. You weren't alone. You had 30,000 people singing with you every day, giving you support. Of course that made you feel better. And I was like, oh, no, I restrict them. I block them. Good. Sometimes if I have the time, I will say it to you over and over. And again, I'm saying it right now. It's like the 1 out of 200 comments. Like, why do you care that one comment was a negative comment? Like,
that's all I focus on.
199 of them were like,
transition for you?
Yeah.
I mean,
for me with Nick, it took me a while to feel okay. And I put my toe in the water. And it might even be helpful for you for a divorce. To the first couple of dates I went on were with other widowers.
Okay.
So that helped immediately like break down that like discomfort of I'm coming in with. You'll probably learn this because after my divorce it happened, and then after Nick's loss it really happened. There's just a no bullshit. Like, I have not had some life experiences. Please try to find something interesting. And I want to find out, like, who you are now from that. And, like, you know, that growth from that.
He got sick with the COVID in March 2020. That was at the height of the pandemic's first wave. Remember those days? His wife, Amanda Kloots, shared his fight publicly for months with us. She even appeared here on CBS Mornings sharing the updates. Sadly, Nick died after a courageous 4-month battle. Nearly 2 years after Nick's death, our lead national correspondent David Bagnall visited his friend Amanda at her home in California to find out how she and her young son, there's Elvis, how they're doing.
Hi, David!
Elvis and Mom! Hi, boo.
Wow.
Like you got one night, live your life. Thanks for having us to your house again.
Oh my God, of course.
Come on in.
A lot of cameras.
For the last 22 months, Nick Cordero's song, Live Your Life, has become a sort of anthem for his widow, Amanda Kloots.
And it's all right, live your life. I've got the song stuck in my head ever since I listened to it.
During Nick's fight, people around the world joined in to sing that song.
And it's all right, live your life.
It became the title of Amanda's book, which is now being made into a movie. And over the last nearly 2 years, she has embraced the idea of living her life, even as she grieves.
I love creating. I love staying busy. I don't idle well, David.
Last year, Amanda joined CBS's The Talk as a co-host. That's where she and I first connected.
I love you.
Love you too. Break a leg.
And I got a chance to learn her story. To some, it may seem like Amanda's got it all together.
What's your name?
And maybe has even moved on from the tragedy that thrust her into the public eye.
We sometimes look at happy people and we think, are they happy all the time? But when you slow down and when it gets quiet, what are the things that get to you?
For me, it's not even when I slow down. Right now, for me, grief, it'll hit me at a ton of bricks out of nowhere. For instance, I went to a show last night. I got home and I was pulling into the driveway and a song from Journey came on that Nick sang in Rock of Ages. And I looked over at, the passenger seat and it was empty. And it hits you like a ton of bricks. And then, you know, you have to like go into the house and it's all fine. But like, it's those moments where you're just like, what happened? And then it hits you. You're alone. I'm alone. I'm all alone. I lost him.
Unless you.
Sweet little Elvis was just a year old when his dad died due to COVID complications.
Well, I won't call no cop.
Nick and Amanda met in New York City. They were both performing in the show Bullets Over Broadway. He was the lead. She was in the ensemble.
I remember thinking, oh no, I like this guy. And then I was done. I was done for.
Knocking this down.
Just as the pandemic was taking hold across the country, they moved from New York to Los Angeles. It was around then, mid-March, when Nick started feeling sick.
I watched him walk into Cedars-Sinai Hospital, and he never came out.
And thereby your journey of really sharing with the world what was happening started.
I just finished my daily visit.
Amanda began sharing updates about Nick's health on social media and here on CBS Mornings.
He's fighting. I see it every day.
Give us some of the TikToks of what you told people.
Oh my gosh. Well, he went on a ventilator, you know, went into a medically induced coma. He got sepsis. His heart stopped. He had his right leg amputated. That was like the first couple weeks.
Nick died in July 2020, and it was an alarm bell for many Americans. A healthy young man with no pre-existing conditions dying as a result of the virus.
I miss having somebody to come home to, and I miss laughing with somebody. Every time I retell this story, it's amazing how helpful it is in this grieving journey.
Really?
Grief does not stop. Loss, death, it does not end. You know, there's no, oh, it's been a year, you must be better, right?
Right.
You cried it out, you know? That is so not the case.
She'll tell you, being so open about her life hasn't always been easy.
You had some people who sort of came after you and were critical and felt like, you know, in the book you divulged things like being allowed to visit him, and they thought that, you know, you had sort of overlooked this privilege that you had. Mm-hmm. How did you take that?
You know, listen, in life, people are going to come at you at all angles for anything you do. Yeah. You know, I mean, they came at me when I said I started dating again. Everybody, you know, had their opinions. I just kind of let those things roll off my back, because what I would like to say to those people is, if you could have lived with me for those 95 days, you would never, ever say what you just said to me. So that's how I think about it.
I must have missed the breaking news. You've been dating?
Oh, no, it's not breaking news.
I missed that post. So have you been on a date?
I have dated, yes.
You have?
Yeah.
How did that go?
I mean, yeah, you know, listen, I love...
Past tense or current?
I'm not currently dating anyone,
okay.
No.
Okay.
I want to love again. I want to have another person in my life. I want Elvis to have a father figure in his life. You know, you're not taking the place of Nick. It's not ever that. It's just that Nick was a part of my life.
Give him a kiss, tell Dada.
As Elvis gets older and life keeps moving on, Amanda told us before we left, somewhat emphatically, Nick will always be a part of it.
It just occurred to me, there must be a moment where you have said out loud, thank you, Nick, for this, or thank you, Nick, for that.
Oh, every day.
There's something about Nick which has brought about a lot of blessing in your life.
Oh, so yeah. Oh, 100%.
What's fun about being a parent is reliving these, you know, things with your kids. And Elvis has made me really love Halloween. And so he gets so excited for costumes. He's a Spinosaurus this year. He's a he's like a dinosaur right now. So he wants to be a Spinosaurus. So I am going to be Laura Dern from Jurassic Park. Oh, and, yeah, that's awesome. And I'm excited. Which you guys, that's a big deal to say I'm excited about Halloween. Yeah. All right, so we've got some older children who I guess the question is, you know.